Several million can feel small, and many of you know what I'm talking about. 3, 5, even $10 million. If you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, you are chasing after satisfaction with the goal being someone else's happy. All right, grab your favorite mug. It's time for Coffee with Your Retirement Coach. Welcome back to Coffee with Your Retirement Coach, where hopefully you came in with a full cup, but we're going to try and fill your cup. Behind the clipboard today, I've got Coach Nick with me. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
I'm Aaron. This is a hard topic that we're going to discuss today.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult thing to find contentment, to find satisfaction when your own happy has not really been analyzed. You're looking over the fence. You're doing these. I remember Seth and Steph Curry. I believe they shared a story that Dell at one point had said, "Hey, listen, you want to know how to be happy in your situation? Don't count another man's money."
I love that. I love that so much. You know, there's something called country club syndrome. Okay, which is a very real thing.
Yep.
And I see it when I go out and play golf and, you know, somebody gets a new bag. Next thing you know, the same group of golfers, the next week, they show up. 2 guys got 2 new golf bags.
Yeah.
You know, they got a new club. You're chasing the new club, you know, and it's always they're after that next best thing, that next thing to keep up. And man, it is such a dangerous spiral because we lose that ability to find contentment with wherever we are.
Absolutely.
To find the satisfaction and the joy in what we have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now your 5 million's never going to feel like it's enough. The 7 million's never going to feel like it's enough, but it has nothing to do with the money.
Yeah.
It's where we're placing our value.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes I think that there is a momentum that builds and we start rolling, and it's a combination of, well, this is what I've been doing, and this is what I'm seeing over here that they are putting as the accoutrement to success, and we don't stop and take an evaluation. If I was a business owner that was buying a certain size vehicle because of tax incentives back in the day, I might not still need that size truck or thing going forward. But how many times do we have retirees go, man, I'm pricing trucks out and it's going to be $80,000 to $100,000 this time around to buy the truck that I need to update? And we're like, do you still need the truck? Do you want the truck? Oh no, I just thought it was time.
And it's almost like it's the feeling of this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And I think a lot of us fall into that trap.
Yeah.
You know, I'm supposed to drive this kind of car.
Right.
I'm supposed to live in this kind of house, in this kind of subdivision. I'm supposed to surround myself with these types of folks. Like, there's a lot of supposed tos in that.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with the truck, the memberships, but rarely are people stopping at this point to go, do I want this?
Yeah.
Do these things fit our lifestyle, our goals, our immediate needs?
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I know in my subdivision, the big thing, you know, for the last couple of years has been the keeping up with the Joneses has been golf carts.
Sure.
I live in a place that they should absolutely ban golf carts, except for on the golf course.
Yeah.
Because it's hilly, it's curvy, and then you've got like some 11-year-old driving it. Like, no,
Right.
no,
Right. Well, and we've often joked that if we got out of this business, we'd move next door and it would be kitchen, bath, and golf carts for retirees. And we'd be super wealthy.
100%.
Literally
100%.
had a client come back a few weeks ago and they're like, well, we priced out the golf carts. I was like, okay, great. Did you know the one where they've got the supported deck and the sound system, and those are $15,000? I'm like, those aren't the only golf carts. Well, that's what everybody in the neighborhood is doing.
Yeah.
Do you want that? Do you need that? I
Yeah.
mean, like, let's not even talk about
You're talking about everybody else and what everybody else is doing. Everyone goes off a cliff. You following them? No, like seriously, what is it that is really what you want? And I think, Aaron, that's a scary conversation for some people to have.
It is.
To actually internalize and think, what would bring me joy, happy, satisfaction?
Yeah.
And, you know, here's the spoiler alert, Aaron.
Yeah.
It's not the stuff.
It's not. It's not. Nick, I'm going to say something and then I'm going to have to clarify. My wife really likes rom-coms. And what I mean by that is we really like rom-coms. So don't.
I know you.
Everybody out there, if anybody asks, my wife likes the rom-coms and I like my wife. No, we like all the rom-coms. Do you remember The Runaway Bride?
Oh, sure.
Loved that movie. That scene where Julia Roberts' character has to admit, I don't even know how I like my eggs because I've always ordered my eggs like the person that I was with ordered their eggs. What a sad reality, but so many of us live in that to different, scenarios, to different levels, but we don't know what would make us happy. We don't know what we would want because we've either got commercials or our neighbors showing us the image of what we feel like we should want into a level of success.
Yeah, and that's real. I mean, I think about, what was it? Fun with Dick and Jane or something like that, the movie.
Oh, another perfect example.
Yeah. They got brand new grass. They updated their car to his neighbor's car.
Yeah.
They did all of these things, and they're chasing something that's never going to give the happy or the fulfillment. And, that was the lesson learned at the end, right?
Now, we're not saying that these things are wrong. There's nothing wrong with nice grass. And we're not saying the other end, thumb your nose at the HOA if it says the grass has to be a certain height. But again, Nick, what is a positive trajectory for someone to set out, establish good guardrails, come up with finding they're happy?
Yeah, well, I think number one, if you're married, this is a conversation that needs to happen with your spouse.
Yeah.
It is in a very real conversation. I mean, the number one thing that leads to divorce is money problems.
Yeah.
It is, and it's not just subjective to people that are, lower income and lower in assets. It's broad spectrum. It happens to everybody. As a matter of fact, I read a statistic, Aaron. I think it was from the book Halftime from Couples by Bob Buford that talked about like the insane percentage of divorces that happen once a couple hits $5 million of assets. I think it goes up to 70% of couples that achieve $5 million or more of net worth, they end up divorced. Well, I think a lot of it, comes back to, do you have money conversations with your spouse? And that doesn't mean that you have to go through a detailed, 9-page spreadsheet or 9-tab spreadsheet of a budget.
Yeah.
What that means is, can you guys effectively communicate about what's important about money to you?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really underutilized question. What's important about money to you?
Yeah.
And then pause and hear them out and ask questions. Ask your spouse, why is that important? And it's not that you're giving them the ninth degree. What it is you're really seeking to understand what is of value and importance. How do you like your eggs? Well, how do you want to spend your money?
Yeah.
And for some people, it's the trips, it's the travel, but don't go to the same places that everyone else in the neighborhood is going to because that's what you're supposed to do. Don't go to the beach if you hate the beach.
Right.
Right.
And that taps into, there's really a great cultural reminder in our office about the golden rule is a great rule. I'm going to do unto others as I would have them do unto me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a great thing, but it's also can be a little tone deaf. And we want to step that up to what level?
Yeah, the platinum rule.
We want it to be the platinum rule. Talk to everybody about how listening, seeking understanding, and taking care of people in that level is so important and adds to few frustrations.
Yeah, well, the platinum rule is, do unto others as you want done unto you.
Yeah.
Not me, because you might want something completely different than me.
Right.
And, Aaron, can we have story time?
Yes.
Story time. So, working with a client, okay, husband and wife, and this is during the COVID period of time.
Yeah.
And this is when, all of their friends, everyone is going to the mountains, and everyone's buying mountain homes, like in Blue Ridge, Georgia, Ella J, Jasper, everyone's going up there and buying mountain homes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they are shopping mountain homes. Okay, they're looking like, hey, Nick, how much can we afford? How much can we, should we take out a loan? Should we borrow against a portfolio? What's the tax situation if I take a distribution from the IRA? All of these things, and we're doing all this math. And I stopped and I said, we've never talked about this before. I know COVID's a weird time, scary time, and all these things. What would you do if you bought this mountain home?
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you love about it? Like what about it would just really be like, man, I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah.
Crickets, Aaron.
Yeah.
No. I don't think you understand. She hates them. She hates bugs. She hates everything about the outdoors and everything like that.
Yeah.
But her group of friends love them. They love going as the ladies' weekends away into cabins and all. Yeah. She loves the social aspect of all of that.
Yeah.
She loves that camaraderie with the friend group, but she does not love anything about the outdoors at all.
Right.
Okay? She'd rather be by a fire with a book and all those types of things, which you can do in any house.
Yes.
The whole idea is that she was buying a feeling.
Yeah.
She was buying an experience that she could relate it to. But then the question was, well, would you have those ladies' weekends at your house? Well, no, she hates hosting.
Oh, gosh.
She wants to be included, but she doesn't. And I'm not picking. This was a very real conversation to be had.
None of the dots connect.
And none of them connected. And so here's what we did, Aaron.
Yeah.
We spent about an extra we spent about 15% of the budget of that.
Right.
And we got the husband, you know what he really wanted? An outdoor fireplace. Because a lot of mountain homes have what? Outdoor fireplace. Absolutely. You know what we did?
Yeah.
We built an outdoor fireplace at his house.
Yeah.
And you know what we did for her? We accumulated a little extra money so she could keep going on these, ladies' trips that she loves.
Yeah.
Right? And so save them a fortune. But that is one of the best examples I can think of how easy it is to go spend or make a big purchase that is so out of line with where your value is and the things you actually enjoy doing.
Sure. And that can be like examined on any level in so many different areas. Like if you truly think about it, there's probably something in your life, whether it's that communication and understanding at this level, or whether it's personal from the outside experiences. And if you don't have that, you're probably not self-examining enough, or you're not having a conversation with your significant other enough.
Oh, yeah, that 100%. That's
it's such an easy trap to fall into. How many times do we have conversations with people where they take one day when they're on vacation and they look around at properties that are available and they're like, oh, we could live there, we could here.
Sure.
And the truth of the matter is...
guilty.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is a small percentage of them want that. Right.
Yeah.
And either they're going to use it as a short-term rental and it's going to be there for passive income, or they're going to be able to go and they want to go to the same place and they want to have it. But by and large, most people don't want to go to the same place every time, not even necessarily the same beaches or same coasts every single time. And the reality is they had done this on vacation so many times in so many years that when it became something where it wasn't just a far off, hey, one day, but really could, nobody had the conversation of, do we really want to do this? Like, it was funny when we played the what if game, but like...
Oh, yeah. Well, and Aaron, here's another trap. Doing things for the kids. Okay. Such a trap.
Yeah.
So there's a couple, and the gentleman was a C-level executive here for a big company here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he grew up on the water, loves the lake life.
Yeah.
And so he starts thinking about, man, wouldn't it be great? We've done some family vacations, different bodies of water, rivers and, oceans, lakes. But man, I would love to have a lake house because then my kids could really experience that life that I had and I had enjoyed. He and his wife, they go and they start shopping for lake houses. They pull the trigger on buying like at the time, this is many years ago, but at the time it was about a $1.5 million house. It's probably like a $4 million house today, I would guess. Yeah. Right? So a big bag, gorgeous lake house. And they built their estate plan, their trust agreement to fund, if something happened to the husband and wife, that the two kids would get the lake house and they would have a trust fund to fund the expenses of the lake house.
Wow.
And they poured all kinds of money, effort, and energy in the lake house.
But I know we're about to make a left-hand turn.
There's a conversation over the Christmas holidays one year.
Yeah.
The kids are married.
Mm-hmm. They've
got kids of their own.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, so when are you and mom going to sell the lake house? Wow. The follow-up question from the other kid was, is there anywhere else that we could go other than the lake house? And they're like, we thought you loved the lake house. We liked being away from home. Neither of them, neither of the kids liked being at the lake. Now, your first inclination, oh, those spoiled brats, they've got a multi-million-dollar lake house, they have access to it, all these types of things.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty judgy.
Yeah.
Why can they not have their own opinion about what they like and dislike without the judgment being put on them? Well, you're supposed to, well, there's that supposed to word again. Right?
Falling into what is expected of someone else.
And so I think this all comes back down to communication within the family, with your spouse. Where is your value? What's important about money to you, and pointing your budget towards those things.
Getting locked into a payment, getting locked into a big, I mean, even, and you're talking about ownership. The other thing that I think is almost, we love watching The Office. You get those awkward, tense moments, and sometimes it's kind of nice. One of the awkward things that is, speaking of planning around the kids, but getting locked into something, maybe yet an emotional or a not being aware of the full scope, timeshares.
Yeah.
Well, we don't really go anymore, but we're still paying it. And that comes up in the budget conversation. And it's usually conflicting. There's one spouse that, hey, another spouse, not so much, but they don't want to get rid of it because maybe it comes back into a good thing again when the grandkids come along.
Right.
So we're paying these premiums. We're miserable with this part of our budget or this thing that we own, hoping that it's going to come back around because we had a few decent memories. But if you dig in the past, well, how great was it when the kids were there? Even then, it wasn't that great. And they're locked in. And again, it's like you said, it is based off of an expectation or an idea or thought that just really didn't pan out.
Yeah. You know, Aaron, I think one of the most valuable things or takeaways that our audience could get from today is that, you know, you should establish for your family what your purpose plan is. And what I mean by that is if you can point your values towards like my purpose, my goals, like these are the things that are most important to me, it's really hard to get sidetracked or side railed by all the shiny objects out there. No, I mean, sure, if you got like ADD like me, like, ooh, shiny, you know, squirrel, right? You know? But if you're reviewing it regularly and you can say, you know, here is my framework, my purpose plan, this is what I'm about, it's so much easier to keep those distractions away from you. So you're accumulating things that ultimately don't matter. They devalue. They all turn to rust and dirt at the end anyway.
That's true.
Right? So point it here. And Aaron, I want to leave you with someone that I think did this so good. This is a lady that she's lived, I think will be year 50 in the same house. Okay. Yeah, I think it's this year, 50 years. It is a very simple house, a modest house. This lady is probably worth about $8 million right now. Okay. She was widowed about 4 or 5 years ago. And she, again, living in the same house. She remodeled her kitchen, remodeled her master bathroom. And she had a carport and she wanted it to be a garage. She did that. So she loves her house. And I talked to her, does it make sense to move? Does it make sense to buy a different house? Maybe one that's been updated, newer fixtures, you know, maybe newer plumbing, all these types of things. And she said, why? I said, well, you can afford to do these things. I love my house. Well, I'm not wanting you to do away. Well, I mean, I've already done everything I want to do with my house. But here's the thing, Nick. The money I've accumulated isn't to go buy other things. I said, well, what do you mean? Well, me and my husband, I'll call him Davey. Okay. Our real mission in life was to be givers. And if I took anything away from this that was not going to the organizations I care about, then it would be off mission, was her words. Off mission. So her purpose and why for accumulating was very focused and tailored towards missions and, you know, taking care of local people's needs. And she didn't want for other material things.
And then that satisfaction and that happy.
Well, why would she go buy a big bad house and have to keep up with all that, which would cause her probably more anxiety and stress and take her off mission. So her purpose plan.
The hard thing is these kind of conversations start in the awkward sometimes. And they're not easy to take that pause to kind of do the self-evaluation, to kind of look at things and say, well, what is our happy? What is our goal? What is our plan? What are the things that bring us purpose and meet our passions, but also create enjoyment and experience? All of these things. I'm reminded of one more final story before we let our sippers. Hopefully your cup is filling up today, because we know this is a lot of you. We introduced this idea to our clients, and I had some clients that I learned the experience about their nutcrackers. You know, a few months ago, we were experiencing Christmas. We come through that. This is still appropriate because I bet they're still bubble wrapping and putting the nutcrackers away. Nick, at the holidays, a big part of their budget was not the gifting to the kids. It was not the trips that they took. It was how much they were spending on nutcrackers because they're expensive, right? So we're talking about year-end planning, and they were talking about what they were spending on nutcrackers. And I get it. If you look at it, the 6-foot nutcrackers that are at people's doors, it's hundreds of dollars. If you buy the antique wooden ones, you can spend thousands of dollars. I got a quick education. Well, you're the one that loves the nutcrackers. I love them because you love them. We love the nutcrackers. I found out 30 years ago they were gifted a nutcracker before they had started accumulating all the Christmas decorations, and they didn't even really have an identity. They just had this one nutcracker, and it was so beautiful. It was the first nice Christmas thing that they had. So they bought another one because it made them feel good, right? And then people noticed that, and people started gifting them nutcrackers. Well, you can't top pigs with pigs, so they had to get fancier ones and nicer ones and imported ones and bigger ones. And then this thing that snowballed was not from an original thing. And there's nothing wrong with it because it was an original good feeling, but it was wild because they're laughing with tears in their eyes, thinking about all the space in their home. They're known as the Nutcracker People. And it was not their idea. Nick, it wasn't their idea at all. And I realized there was a freedom that came out of that conversation that day, because I knew they were going to leave the office, start talking about, well, what do we want our house to look like at the holidays? Where do we want to spend our money at the holidays? And it was a big free up, but there has to be a catalyst for the conversation. And I think that would be mine and Nick's encouragement for you guys as our listener today, as our coachable crew. We would encourage you to do the self-reflection, to start the conversation. What makes us passionate? What is something that creates happiness for our, not pursuing somebody else's idea of success? And then from there, begin to look at, well, how do we go about this and this path and this journey for ourselves? Don't let your situation feel small because it's not funding your idea of success, your idea of happiness, the pursuits that you should be having on your own personal level. Again, we'd love to hear from you. If this has kind of unlocked a thought, a memory, if you start digging around and you go, my word, I have been guilty of this. We want to hear those stories. We want to hear those experiences. Email us at connect@yourretirementcoach.com. Talk to us, help us, because your stories can help others. You heard the stories from people that we've worked with, stories that we've experienced. We want to hear your story. If this episode was helpful to you, we want to encourage you to share it with others, because we've all been there. We can end up there again, and this can unlock a lot of awesome contentment, satisfaction for all of us if we do the work. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for staying coachable. We hope you enjoyed today's show, but you may have questions for our coaches, and they can be emailed at connect@yourretirementcoach.com. If you know someone that needs to hear this episode, we encourage you to share it. As a reminder, the content of this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as advice. On behalf of our coaches, we want to thank you for listening and for being coachable.
Yeoman's Consulting Group, a registered investment advisor YouTube channel based in Marietta, Georgia. We strive to provide comprehensive wealth management services for every stage of the journey. This platform is solely for informational purposes and is not offering advisory services or sales of securities. Investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Comments by viewers or recognitions are no guarantee of future investment outcomes and do not ensure that a viewer will experience a higher level of performance or results. Public comments posted on this site are not selected, amended, deleted, or sorted in any way. If applicable, certain editing of personal, identifiable information and misinformation may be deleted. The opinions expressed herein are as of the date of publication and are subject to revision due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass.